Wow, what incredible to see 4 royal families in one spot. And Kim and I got to drive it up on stage and present it to them. Once in a lifetime deal. It was pretty cool.
Dennis Collins, a name that resonates throughout the automotive industry. While some may recognize him for his appearance on Discovery Channel's hit car series Fast and Loud, Dennis Collins is far more than a television personality. With a rich history and a passion for all things automotive, he has carved out a remarkable legacy that extends far beyond the screen. Dennis Collins' automotive prowess goes hand in hand with his acclaimed venture, Collin Bros Jeep, an iconic auto shop dedicated to the care and restoration of Jeeps in all their forms. Yet, it's his insatiable love for collecting and restoring extraordinary vehicles that has truly propelled him to the forefront of the automotive world. However, he's more well known for being a big-time petrolhead and is one of the biggest car collectors and restorers on the planet. Join us today as we give you an inside look into Dennis Collins' impressive car collection.
Porsche is one of my favorite marques. There were 2 incredible Porsches in the Concours, 72 Carrera RS and a 73 Carrera RS. So I got to meet the guy that owned those. His name's Faisal.
Dennis is not exactly a household name, but he is well respected and well known in the automotive industry and among gearheads. He's also regarded as one of the most knowledgeable gearheads on the planet. But how does someone who graduated from the University of Texas with a degree in economics and finance become so knowledgeable about cars? To tell you about it, Dennis was born in 1965, and his obsession with cars actually began when he was a kid. As a high schooler, he owned and drove a 1966 Ford Mustang, and after finishing college, he decided to run his own business. Dennis Collins established Collins Brothers Jeep in 1984, and for almost 2 decades, he has worked on repairing, restoring, and converting Jeeps. Dennis loves Jeeps so much, and they make up a significant part of his collection. The Jeep Gladiator is one of Dennis's newest additions, and compared to most of the other cars in his collection, it is quite new.
I have not driven it. We're running this Jeep on 39-inch BFG crawlers. Don't know if it's a good idea to do a donut in it, but I'm gonna try, so let's go check it out.
This 2020 Gladiator is powered by 6.4-liter Hemi and does burnouts and donuts. He showcased this Jeep on an episode of Coffee Walk, and his friends at Gas Monkey Garage couldn't help but marvel at how insane it looks and drives, and they shared it on Twitter. This Jeep Gladiator is the tip of the humongous iceberg that is Dennis's car collection and one of the many Jeeps he owns. Dennis's company, Collins Brothers Jeep, doesn't just fix Jeeps. He owns one of the best and largest Jeep CJ collections. Dennis owns a total of 28 classic CJ Jeeps.
What me and my team have accomplished. So grab your cup of joe, let's go see one of the best CJ collections available.
This collection consists of Jeep CJ5s, CJ7s, and CJ8s. One special Jeep is his 1986 Jeep CJ7 that's in mint condition. This Jeep had only 5,500 miles on the odometer and had been sitting in a garage since 1995. It's covered in a dark honey gold exterior and classifies as a true time capsule Jeep. The origin of the CJ Jeep traces back to the Second World War. Each of Dennis's Jeep is special to him and has its history and background. This entire collection of Jeeps is estimated to be worth around $1 million. You'd be wrong if you thought Jeeps were the only cars Dennis Collins likes to collect. He also has a thing for Fox body Mustangs. Being the car expert that he is, Dennis is meticulous about how he stores his cars. His home in Texas has a garage that can fit 20 or more cars, and due to the hot temperatures in Texas, the garage comes with its own air conditioning unit. Collins owns several Fox body Mustangs, selling 6 at the well-known Bear-Jackson auction for record-setting prices. These Fox bodies were one of the rarest and best preserved Fox body Mustangs in the world, and they were just brand new because they barely had any miles on them. The most spectacular car in this collection is a 7-Up Special Edition car. The car was sold for $82,500. You would be surprised to know that Collins' car was meant for a Ford executive. It got picked up from the factory on a trailer and went straight to the exec's house. It was never driven. The car was made for NBA games where random people from the crowd could win it by making a half-court shot, but it ended up in Dennis's collection. Dennis has made over $3 million from his collection of Fox body Mustangs. Dennis also owned another that isn't a Fox body. This Mustang is one of the most expensive ones in the world, and when Dennis was asked about any car he regretted selling, he spoke about his special Mustang. This Mustang was known as their Super Boss, and according to the Mustang community, it is one of the rarest Mustangs ever to exist, as only 1,359 were made worldwide. To tell you the truth, this car was meant for NASCAR racing, but production models were built and sold to the public out of Ford's need to homologate the engine for NASCAR racing. Colin's Mustang is even more special because it toured Vietnam during the war. He sold it for $116,000 at auction, but admitted that he should have held on to it. You might not know that, but Collins has a special place in his heart for sports cars, and no one has the pleasure or honor that Collins has for owning as many Healey's. On top of that, Dennis has owned every kind of Healey ever made. He used to keep track of every Healey he owned, but that only lasted for a while. After Dennis counted about 500 Healeys, he lost count of them. The most spectacular Healey to ever fall into Dennis's hand is one of the Nash Healey. Dennis said that this Nash Healey #1 is the first purpose-built American sports car. When the Nash Healeys were initially produced, they were sold for $8,000. That amount might seem minute now, but it was so expensive that it didn't encourage any buyers. But then Dennis sold chassis in 2001. It was the first Nash Healey to be sold at auction, and it was sold for a record-breaking price of $500,000. The car is part of 2013's Worldwide Auctioneers, and when it was put up for sale again, it sold for almost $1 million. This is one of those cars that Dennis wished he had held on to just a little bit longer. While in 2001 may be the most valuable Healey Dennis owned, the white on gold is just absolutely pleasing to look at. It's a car you'd want to buy even if it doesn't run and drive. This 1958 Austin Healey was the one that got away. Despite owning and selling so many Healeys, Dennis couldn't get the hundreds until he acquired Goldie. According to Dennis, he sought after this car for more than 3 decades and would call the previous owner of the car at least once or twice every year asking when it would be up for sale. The owner promised to sell it to Dennis when they retired, which they did. The car was fully restored when Dennis bought it, but it wasn't fresh enough for him. Goldie was restored to be a work of art on wheels, and she turned up on the concourse in Kuwait, one of the world's most difficult concourses to win. But still, Goldie won the award for Kuwait Concours d'Elegance, beating more iconic cars like the Mercedes 300 SLR, Lamborghini prototypes, Pagani's, and beautiful Porsches. Every piece of gold on Goldie is a 24-karat gold. She sports a John Thompson motor pressing race chassis and is the only Healey to get the John Dunlop Racing 4-wheel disc brakes. For the interior decor, you can see real ivory with real mink from the British royal family and the first factory radio ever installed in a Healey. The current value of an ordinary Healey like Goldie is estimated to be about $1.8 million, but with Goldie's pedigree and looks, she's worth even more. According to Dennis, she's the most valuable Healey in existence. Goldie was built for the 1958 Earl's Court Motor Show and was the first car people ever saw. Goldie may be the most valuable car in Dennis's collection, but this next car is his crown jewel. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo is no ordinary car. Only 40 are made by Lamborghini. There are only about 32 or so on the road because the others have been crashed beyond repair. But Lamborghini only made these cars for dealerships, and Dennis Collins is the only individual to own one. The Super Trofeo is a track-only car that's illegal on public roads, but Dennis has done some work to make it legal so he can drive it on public roads. He raised the suspension up 1.5 inches so that he could drive it on the street, put street tires on it, added a passenger seat, completely remapped and relocated the engine computer, added rear view mirrors, and made it so that it could be realistically driven on the street. Dennis's Super Trofeo is a truly rare specimen, and how he got to own one as an individual is an interesting story. Well, someone took a loan from the bank to finance this car, but then their company went bankrupt, and before the car could go back to Lamborghini, Dennis bought it from the bank. This Super Trofeo has no damage history despite being a race car, and it's only got 2,000 miles on it. This is an extreme car, and nothing can effectively convey the intense aura surrounding this track-ready Lamborghini. Everything about the Super Trofeo is summed up in a word: function. Every component of the Super Trofeo has a distinct, poignant purpose, and the result of their summation is a raw competence of speed and panache. There you have it, Dennis Collins' insane car collection. Which of these cars would you love to have in your collection? Let us know in the comment section.